Well, good morning, afternoon, evening. This is Carol Brown Earl coming to you from Bristol, Virginia. And today I wanted to take a little bit of time because I know I've got quite a few new people in my group and whatnot also, but just to explain to you a little bit about who I am, where I've come from, what I'm doing, where am I going, where have I been. So I guess I'll kind of start at the beginning. I was unfortunately born and raised in New Jersey, and I don't own up to that very often. So, because I've spent only 16 years there, and the vast majority of my life I have spent in the South in Tennessee. And I love it here. I love the winters. They're short, but cold enough to get rid of the bugs and roaches. So, and then the rest of the year, it's pretty much okay. Anyway, so yeah, I was born and raised in Jersey. Pretty much grew up in a slightly above average household. Dad was mayor of the town where I grew up as a kid, and which is where I get a lot of my politicalness from. I don't know, I'm real good at politics and helping other people and trying to solve problems and issues and things of that sort. And I kind of owe that to my dad after almost 8 years of hearing about politics. So at a ripe old age, right? Yep, a ripe young age. So anyway, I got married young, had 2 kids. Actually got married too young, married that rebel, so to speak, which big no, guys, don't ever do that. It doesn't work out. And that was in Illinois at the time, and he took off to California, came back, kidnapped the kids from me, went through hell on that, wasn't able to fight it because I didn't have enough money for an attorney. So they pretty much wound up growing up in California, which really wasn't so bad. I mean, they grew up in Hermosa Beach, California, blonde and blue-eyed, and they're beautiful kids. So it's hard to see them because they're so far away, but every once in a blue moon we manage. But so anyway, after that marriage failed, I did, I don't know, maybe about 5 or 6 years later, I remarried and had another set of girls, always girls. First 2 were girls, the next 2 were girls. And that marriage is pretty status quo. I actually started selling fundraising materials to daycares and a few schools, things of that sort. Those people come home with a little notebook and, show you candy and newspaper candy and wrapping paper and such. Well, that's kind of what I did. And I only did it 3 days a week. And my husband was, okay, why am I working almost 7 days a week and you're out making more money than I am in 1 week? I said, I don't know. He says, there's something wrong in this picture. So what we did, we turned it around, and I ran a full-time fundraising company myself. And we dealt with all the schools within the Tri-City area, and we're very successful. Matter of fact, we sent the national companies running away because they could not compete with a mom and pop business. Because we were there for the schools. We helped them with all the necessary things they needed for their fundraising. We even talked to their parents direct. I mean, it was great. However, he died in 2003, had a massive heart attack. Hi, guys. Thanks for stopping in. He had a massive heart attack and in 2003, and my life just turned into a windmill. I wasn't sure what I was going to do, where I was going to go. I wound up living with my youngest daughter. She was in Maryville, Tennessee at the time. So I went there for a little bit. Still didn't know what I was going to do. So I decided to take a job at the airport driving a cab. Talk about off the track. I've never did anything like that before, but I knew I loved to drive. So I figured while I'm in this lost little world, I'd try something kind of new and exciting. And it was fabulous. I made tons of money doing that. And then there was this other guy who came along too, and he was there for the same reasons as I am. He had been in IT for like 30 years, and he was like taking a break from all that, couldn't stand corporate America. I know what you mean. So he and I joined forces and really cleaned up. I mean, people come in asking for HERI all the time. And we found that a lot of people we were picking up at the airport were going to the bus depot. I said, why are all these people coming in from the airplane and going onto buses? You know, what's up with that? So we did a little more inquiring, and we found out that they were what's called professional drivers. They would go to the manufacturers of like people who made those bobtails that, you know, pulled the 18-wheelers, dump trucks, utility trucks, school buses, Class A motorhomes. I mean, if it had a Class B license that needed to be driven because it was that big, we drove them. We did that for like 8 years almost on the road. Yeah, it was 8 years, and loved it because we didn't have anybody saying we had to pick something up or we had to meet a deadline. It was totally independent contractors, and as long as we got the vehicle to where it was going in X amount of time, they didn't care. So what we do a lot is we saw the entire country. You know, we went to so many of the monuments and popular places that people want to go, except I never did make it to the Grand Canyon, so that is still on my list. But it was wonderful. We even went panning for gold one time. It was wonderful. I loved it. But we'd be out 3 weeks at a time on the road, and then we'd come home for about a week is all. And that was like just to rejuvenate, get kick-started, catch up on all the laundry from all the clothes we had with us that needed to be washed. You know, things like that. Just try to catch up with family and friends, you know, that week too. So it was in 2014 that my husband, you know, we had taken a break with the winter and Christmas and all that. So he just said he didn't think he could go back to work. And he was just too weak to do it. So, and this came after news of January 1st, my father died. 3 weeks later, my sister died. Then in February, my husband's getting sick. It was not a good time. And he proceeded to get sicker and sicker. And by the end of the year, he was gone. So I lost my dad, my husband, and the one full sister that I had. And I was practically oblivious. I didn't know what I was going to do. I mean, here, you know, my father and my husband, the two main people in my life that I would always turn to, are suddenly gone. And I had no one to turn to. It was like I was the next on the chopping block because now I'm the older one. And yeah, it took me a good 2 years to finally get my head on straight. And once I did, and I realized I needed to sell the house I was in because everything there, it reminded me of him. We had a 5.5 acre farm. We had put in a 2 acre pond in the backyard, which we really called a mini lake because it was that big. We stocked it with fish. We used to go fishing all the time. We had built a 40 by 40 red iron steel building because he wanted to have a shop, a wood shop. And at least he survived to see the completion of having that built, but that was about it. So no help from my dad. My husband's gone, lost that income too. I didn't know what I was going to do. I get, you know, retirement disability money now, and I am 65, those of you who don't know. And I earned every one of these wrinkles for it. Anyway, so I then started turning to the internet and lost so much money. I spent like $80,000, about all the money I had left, just bound and determined to try to figure out some way to make money online. And then Mark Malone came along, and I was flabbergasted. He really impressed me. That man, I thought, okay, I'm sticking with him, and only with him. I could tell the ingenious of this man's mind, and everything I would learn from him and everything he was teaching, I was absorbing and excelling in. And so I stayed with him, and he had opened Branding University, which is, you know, what I'm a part of now also. And the first time I ever made money online was by following Mark. So little plug there. If you need some help with marketing, let me know. We do teach you for free to start. So But anyway, so yeah, so I started following Mark and things started to turn around. And right now, my main goal is to make enough money so that my 4 kids that are out there in the world in different states, so I've got one in Tennessee, I'm in Virginia, but she's still a little bit away. I want to be able to see my kids and my grandkids. I mean, that's my bottom line. You know, I don't really have a good relationship with any of the kids because I don't know, I was not a good mom. And not that I meant to not be good, it's that when I was little, from my traumatic childhood, a part of that, without going into details, I wound up going without oxygen for quite a bit of time. I was found on my bedroom floor, not breathing. Mom didn't even realize it. She picked me up, threw her over her shoulder, got a washcloth, went in the living room, sat down, went to put the cloth on my head, and my grandmother was there. She screams because I'm blue, you know. So Mom screams, gets Dad, and he starts doing CPR on me and tells my mom to call the ambulance. You got to remember, back then it's the dial tone phones, and somebody take a message, then get it out to the emergency people, then get in their truck, and then get to our house. So the end result of all that, obviously they did revive me. I am here today. But and I didn't know this. I had a small stroke when I was 62, you know, after losing all those people. And they found that the stroke didn't do anything in my head, but they found a place in my head where the blood vessels were all collapsed. And they said that it was really old. So they didn't understand. Did you have a stroke, you know, years ago? I said, no, but I did have an accident when I was a kid. And they go, aha, yes, that could be from it. So basically, the torturous childhood and my majority of my adult years, I didn't realize, but I always thought it was so hard for me to learn anything. It was so hard for me to absorb everything. I had to go 95 million steps further than anyone else to get it in my brain. And then when I did, you know, I'd excel at anything I would do, capitalize on it, outdo anybody else. But I couldn't explain it back to them how I did it. It's that little catch in my head. And so with my kids and raising them, the emotional part of it, I couldn't control at all. So any snap decision I made, 9 times out of 10, it was wrong. And now, since I do know what's wrong, I have learned how to handle that little bit of handicap, getting information in and out. And basically, I wait 12, 24 hours, or if it's really big, maybe 48, and let the information soak in. And then there's no stopping me. You know, I've had so many different sales jobs. I've outsold newspaper staffs. I've outsold through a company that had companies from Maine to Florida, and I've outsold them. And that's my lifelong history. I mean, everything I touch as far as any sales, I've always excelled extremely well on. The internet's been a little bit rough because it's a different kind of sale, but I'm figuring it out, and I'm doing much better. And there's nothing but blue skies and all this universe for me to gain access to and grow. And so that's basically who I am, where I've come from, what I'm doing now, with the exception of one more thing. I have also joined an MLM. Mark Lalone, who is our leader through Brandon University, had been working on this for a while, testing out a particular product for months, which he has done and accomplished. And he has brought this to all of us at Brandon University and anyone else who would like to join. And it is a wonderful product. Businesses have what you'd call, see, it's going to be backwards for you, but it's an S curve. You know, business starts down here in the bottom of the S and takes 4 or 5 years to see if they're going to make it through that. And this business has. So once it makes it through there, then it's the upward pace to get to the top. And with this company, we're just at the start of that upward pace. And this particular product, the gentleman who's behind it, is the same man who ran Fiji Water up to the top, turned it into a billion-dollar business, guys. And now he's doing the same with this new, it's a weight loss product. And it's actually not just weight loss, it's a way of life. But it is excelling. And we actually, our team is outselling even the company's team as far as recruiting. We have so many people coming in because they're seeing, they understand this is the time to get in because it's going nowhere but up. You can't help but to be successful because that's the way it's going. So if you'd like some information on that, just inbox me or say more info, please, in the comments if you've made it this far through the video. But I'll leave you, there's a webinar that we're running several times a day over the next several days. And I'll leave that there for you if you'd like to check it out. There's also a challenge in there that if you'd like to take on Mark for the challenge, there's a code. I'll put that in the box with this also. But yeah, if you want to join us, you know, nothing but smiling from ear to ear. I'm loving this. I was only in for a month and I already got a commission check. So guys, this is where it's at. You'd love it. And now you know where I came from a rotten childhood, several marriages, 1 divorce, 2 deaths. It's been a ride. I'll tell you what, I've been through so much. Most people say, how, and you're still sane? I said, well, maybe not as sane as you are. But I've learned to laugh things off and go on. It's the only thing you can do. But anyway, guys, I appreciate you all for coming on and checking this out. And if I can do anything to help anybody with anything, branding, learning how to work on the internet, or wanting to join this weight loss challenge with me, company's going nowhere but up, like I said, just give me a shout out and help me down and I'll help you up to the top. Anyway, thank you for hanging in there and God bless you all, and I will talk to you later again. Bye for now.